U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin apologized for concealing his prostate cancer diagnosis and hospitalization from President Joe Biden and the rest of the government. Austin told a news conference that he's still recovering. Austin was hospitalized on the 1st of January for complications from a December surgery to treat prostate cancer. But President Biden and top White House officials were not notified till 3 days later. The Congress was not told till the following day. Biden did not learn of the cancer diagnosis till January 9th. Austin's health problems and secrecy over his treatment comes as U.S. forces are fighting off Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. London's High Court has thrown out Donald Trump's lawsuit against a British investigation firm in the so-called Steele dossier case. The case stems from 2016 when Trump filed a data protection lawsuit against Orbis Intelligence. This was co-founded by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele. Steele had compiled a dossier claiming there were connections between the Trump campaign and Russia. In her ruling, the High Court judge said there were no compelling reasons to allow the claim to proceed to trial. A small plane crashed and demolished a mobile home on Thursday in Florida, presumably killing the pilot. Firefighters are trying to determine now if there were any victims. One person on the ground received a minor injury and refused treatment. 4 homes were damaged in the mobile home park where the crash occurred. First responders arrived quickly and put out the fire within half an hour. Days after 2 Indian origin students were killed in the United States, another student has been found dead in the country's Ohio state. The Indian consulate in New York took to social media platform X and said the police investigation is underway and authorities are in touch with the victim's family. The victim, identified as Shreyas Reddy Benigeri, was a student of the Lindner School of Business at the University of Cincinnati. The latest shocker is the 3rd such incident that has come to light only within the last week. These fatal attacks on Indian students come at a time when the US has recently processed a record-breaking number of visas for Indian nationals last year. A delegation from the Maldives is in New Delhi to discuss the presence of Indian military in the island nation. Mali's delegation, that has both diplomatic and military representatives, is expected to hold talks with the Indian side later today. The meeting will mark the 2nd significant meeting between the two sides. The first meeting was held on the 14th of January, in which both countries agreed to find a quote-unquote mutually workable solution. The meeting comes at a time when the Maldivian president is struggling to save his presidency. The China-leaning president took office last November. 3 months later, he's facing a potential impeachment. Pakistan's acting Interior Minister Gohar Ejaz has dispelled doubts over holding the February 8th general elections. With less than a week left, the country is now facing a rising threat of terrorist attacks, especially in 2 provinces bordering Afghanistan. Ejaz said that after the recent spate of terrorist attacks, specifically in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, I'm quoting him here, there should not be any doubt about elections, no matter what happens. The Election Commission of Pakistan later convened a meeting to discuss the issue of worsening law and order situation in the country. Farmers in Ireland's Galway demonstrated in solidarity with their EU counterparts on Thursday. The protest comes after France's main farmer union leaders have been blocking roads, disrupting vehicular movement across the country for over 2 weeks. Responding to the agitation, the French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal said that the government will stop imposing stricter laws on its farmers. French President Macron also said the European Union needs to profoundly change its agriculture rules if it wants to address its farming crisis. The police in Turkey have detained an armed man who took the staff hostage at a Procter & Gamble factory on Thursday. After a 9-hour-long ordeal, the police rescued all 7 hostages, who included a woman. The motive behind the hostage-taking seemed to be an apparent protest against Israel's military campaign in Gaza. The regional governor's office said the hostages were unarmed, adding that the operation to rescue them was launched after negotiations with the hostage-taker failed. The suspect, whom PNG says was not an employee, wanted to draw attention to the ongoing occupation in Gaza. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un inspected a shipyard and underscored the importance of a strong naval force. Kim's visit comes at a time when North Korea tested its new submarine launch cruise missiles on January 28th and accelerated its naval nuclear armament. Images released by state media showed Kim looking around the shipyard. According to KCNA, Kim was briefed on various warship constructions for a new plan decided by the North Korean leadership. Kenyan firefighters in central Nairobi are battling a massive blaze that was caused by an explosion in the Kenyan capital, killing 3 people. More than 270 people are said to be injured. The explosion was reported at a gas filling point in the Embakasi area of Nairobi. Firefighters are attempting to extinguish the blaze. People dressed in civilian clothes were also helping firefighters on the scene. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said that Tesla will vote to change the state in which it is incorporated. This comes a day after a judge in the U.S. state of Delaware voided his $56 billion compensation package. Musk suffered one of the biggest legal losses in U.S. history this week in a case brought by a former heavy metal drummer, Richard Tornetta. A resident of Pennsylvania, Tornetta sued Tesla in 2018, alleging that its board members misled investors at the behest of Musk when deciding to award Musk a whopping $56 billion as compensation. According to reports, Pegasus, the Israeli-made spyware, was used in Jordan to hack the cell phones of at least 30 people. This includes journalists, lawyers, human rights activists and political activists. Out of the many targets in Jordan, one of it was Adam Kugel, Jordan's Human Rights Watch deputy director. Adam Kugel, in an interview, said that it was difficult to imagine who other than Jordan's government would be interested in hacking those who were targeted. Pegasus is a powerful spyware that can be used to track a victim's location, record their calls and messages, and even access their camera and microphone. It has allegedly been used by governments to target journalists, activists, and political opponents. The Jordanian government is now yet to comment on the hacking incident. E-commerce giant eBay has agreed to pay $59 million as part of a settlement with the U.S. Justice Department over thousands of pill press machines sold on the platform. According to reports, these machines are being used by criminals to manufacture counterfeit pills that look just like prescription drugs. However, these fake pills are laced with substances like fentanyl, a synthetic opioid drug that is largely fueling the deadliest overdose crisis in U.S. history. Reports say these machines can produce thousands of pills in 1 hour. It is also being alleged that since October 2015, eBay failed to verify buyers' identity, keep purchase records and report to the Drug Enforcement Administration to make sure that the machines are traceable and not used illegally. According to a report by Amazon Web Services, more than a third of European businesses adopted artificial intelligence in 2023. In 2021, the European Commission and the EU executive announced their 2030 Digital Decade vision. The aim was to transform Europe with 5G connectivity everywhere, 80% of the population acquiring basic digital skills, and 75% of EU companies using cloud services. However, in 2022, only a quarter of EU businesses had adopted AI. According to reports, in 2023, more than 38% of EU companies were experimenting with AI. The report estimated the positive economic impact of AI at an additional 600 billion euros, on top of an earlier estimate of 2.8 trillion euros. A group of 25 California counties has sued Tesla. It is being alleged the electric vehicle maker mishandled hazardous waste at its facilities across the state. Elon Musk's Tesla has been accused of violating state unfair business and hazardous waste management laws by improperly labeling waste and sending the materials to landfills that cannot accept hazardous material. The lawsuit claims that violations have occurred at as many as 101 facilities, including at Tesla's manufacturing plant in Fremont. According to California's hazardous waste management law, if found guilty, a company has to pay penalties as high as $70,000 per violation per day. The aviation industry faces a severe airplane shortage, exacerbated by the lingering impact of the pandemic and production challenges at Boeing. With a current deficit of 3,000 planes, airlines grapple with soaring demand and higher prices for older aircraft. Boeing's recent production curb, triggered by a mid-air incident, adds to the strain, delaying a return to a balanced market until at least 2027. Airlines resort to purchasing rather than leasing, signaling a prolonged issue. The industry copes with maintenance efforts to extend the life of older planes, but faces challenges with labor shortages and environmental concerns. The situation has broad implications, affecting not only passenger jets but also air cargo, and the industry's goal of achieving net zero emissions by 2050. India's Tata Group is in talks with Apple supplier Pegatron to partner on a new iPhone assembly plant in Tamil Nadu. This would be Tata's second such facility, aiming to accelerate India's iPhone production and support Apple's diversification beyond China. The partnership would leverage Pegatron's technical expertise while giving Tata majority control. This aligns with Apple's goal of having 20 to 25% iPhones made in India by 2024. Up from 12 to 14% currently. The move comes amid COVID-19 disruptions and geopolitical tensions, pushing Apple to reduce reliance on China. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.